Hey everybody, getting everything squared away right now. I just forgot that I started. I've been quiet. If you're just listening to this, skip ahead to the timestamp I'll put in the chat field and chatting along with us. Get this started. What's up, my player haters?
Hey.
Don't hate the player.
Oh.
I actually said that today at work, but it's because they hit the printer. I don't know what. Anyways, it's funny how you say something and then it comes up again. That prequel,
Yeah, agreed.
it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Especially after I watched the episodes.
Yeah,
I should have done that first. Yeah, I should have done that first. No, it's not your fault. We should have done it in the order that you actually requested.
Yeah, but whatever. Anyway, let's just quickly right now discuss naturally, like we were discussing it last week, and just talk about it for 2 seconds. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right, so the prequel, the amazing Toyota commercial prequel that we got. Did you not notice what a Toyota commercial this was? Like any car.
It said brought to you by Toyota,
yeah.
I think.
And then
I think we noticed.
There were several cars in it, and they were all Toyota. They were shot like it was a Toyota commercial.
The guns even said Toyota on them.
All right, this is not as lame of I think of a prequel as kind of is. Not the worst prequel that we've had. I just think that I don't know. So the main focus of it is to show him being tortured, that he never cracked, but he did lose
Give
an
up
edge.
some info.
Yeah, because he gave an info accidentally because he fell for it when somebody was acting like they were trying to rescue him, and they were like, "All right, is this? We need to know if this is your contact to make sure." I don't know, however they said it, and it turned out it was a trick from Chang, and he got the agent killed.
Tricky Chang.
Tricky Chang. But what do you guys think of this? Do you think it was at least interesting enough to see some of his torture that he was receiving, and that this is something that held us off for a little bit while we're waiting for the release of the series?
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I don't know. We don't really have stuff like this anymore, So it's like It's hard to compare like what you guys were going through at that point.
This is the only series I've ever thought of that does a prequel between season.
Yeah, especially one that's 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Really.
Do you think that's long or do you think that's short?
No, I think that's long for like a prequel. Like you expect it to be like the length of a commercial or whatever trailer.
Trailer, yeah, that's fair. I would want more shows to do them. It's kind of fun. It's like a nice little when in the waiting period does this arrive?
Yeah, I guess it only makes sense for.
And the actual prequel was released online on December 5th, and the season premiere premiered on January 14th.
I guess it only makes sense for shows that are non-linear, like non completely linear. Like since there's a gap in between, it's okay. But like for other shows, there's not normally that big of a gap.
There's, like Breaking Bad, for instance, it takes like the next season would take place seconds after the last one.
Right.
Game of Thrones is like that too. Yeah.
Right.
But this one is the only one that I can think of that has in between each season a certain time jump that it actually explains.
Right.
But anyway, anybody that wants to watch this prequel, you can just Google 24 season 6 prequel, and don't search for it on YouTube though. Trust me, that's a waste of time there. For some reason, it's hard. Like Fox would pull it or whatever if you put it. Anyway, all right. Well, anyway, let's continue discussing the rest of our preview for season 6. All right, rock and roll. That worked out. Cheating and lying, flying our way to victory.
The only way to get through life.
Yes. All right. We've seen 122 episodes of 24. Welcome to the Legacy of 24. I'm Dylan Shuck, and I've seen every single episode of 24.
And I'm Justin Moran. I've only seen 122 episodes of 24.
That's it?
And I'm
It's fucking so many episodes.
How many are left? And I'm Christina Ramses. I've also seen 122 episodes of 24.
It's over 200 episodes.
So. Yeah, it's like 218 or something, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So
no, less than that.
About half of that?
So, no, I think it's 208 episodes total. So we're over halfway, well over halfway. But in this podcast, we're not going to be talking about those. Because in this podcast, we're discussing episodes 1 and 2 of the 6th season of Fox's original show, 24.
In this podcast, we're going to be discussing all events up to these 2 episodes, without spoiling any events from any of the remaining 100 or so episodes.
80 or so.
All episodes of 24 available to stream on Amazon Prime, and we encourage you to watch along.
Guys, we gotta give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. If you want to be
we have to.
Exactly. If you want to be a supporter of the show, you go to patreon.com/watch-and-talk. Big shout out to our premium supporters, Shakita, June, Endless Mike, and Kaka. And, you know, how's your guys' week been?
Nice segue. Go ahead,
let's
Justin.
see where he goes with this one.
Yeah.
Justin, what did you do this week?
What did I do this week?
You have a concert tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to a concert.
Do you like go with anybody?
Yeah.
You go with a bunch of friends, and like, how do you like keep in?
One friend.
How do you keep in touch with like the bands coming to town?
I typically use the internet.
You use the internet, but like, do you search for it on social media or something like that?
Yeah. I'm typically on social media, but yeah.
It just depends on your presence there on social media.
Yeah, right.
So I guess if you had a better social media presence, you could more easily find bands that are coming to town and all that kind of stuff.
Probably, yeah.
Boy, do I have a solution for you.
Jeez. Roundabout.
You can go to the watchandtalk.com/coin-crack and boost your social media presence. And, so go do that. Justin.
Oh, okay, thanks for the advice.
Now, if we ever say anything about the person in the chat, it's because we stream these episodes live on YouTube. We stream them at a different time, a different date every week. The best way to find out when we're going to be streaming them next is just by following us on Twitter or just checking our Twitter. In the mornings, we'll usually say early afternoon, or whenever we know what time we're going to be airing the episode, I'll go put a heads up on there. And if you're not a Twitter user, you can just search for @Legacy24 and see it on there. Or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and it will give you a notification every time we go live. And that's
so
when
you do that for this episode or for this show, you usually do it from the Watch and Talk, or sometimes you do it from your personal Twitter, and it always says, you always write like programming note,
yes,
and then it says this tweet does not exist. I'm always like, why does he always do this? Does he not know how to use Twitter?
Because you're blocked.
And then I realize I'm blocked.
You're blocked. I blocked Christina and Justin.
I'm not blocked.
Yeah, you are.
It says we're live. Come listen on our 24 rewatch.
I need to block you.
You just knew I don't go on very often. No, I can see it.
Well, it's like I'm thinking. Maybe I didn't because I was like, she doesn't use
I don't
this
even
shit
gonna
anyway.
like it.
She doesn't even be on. She isn't even on anyway.
She don't even be on it. I'm actually on Twitter right now. And speaking of which, is Jar of Geek in the chat? We got Jar of Geek. Whoa, Jay out there.
Jay, if you're in there, chime in. But anyway,
only because I responded to a tweet. He
Yeah, he still never tweeted at me, which is the only reason.
But Jar of Geek, I got his back.
Oh, man. He's getting all the tweets, but not me. All right. So let's discuss let's discuss this premiere of season 6. What do we think? What do we like? What do we not like? I guess we can go into the ins and outs, but as a whole, is this living up to where we left off with Jack Bauer?
I actually thought it was a stronger premiere than I was expecting. I wasn't. I didn't. I guess I expected it to be like really awful because like of the way it's been set up for me so far. But I thought it was not too bad.
What about you, Christina?
Yeah, I thought it was good. There were a couple of things that I think Justin called, like Palmer being President Palmer. I'm pretty sure Justin said that.
You guys were rapid firing guesses, but yeah, when Palmer.
No,
yeah,
like,
but when he said that one, I'm pretty sure I was like, oh, like I don't know, I didn't, but I thought that was a good one, and so that was cool to see.
You didn't rapid fire. You said like 3 things, and then that was the last thing you said, and that was the one that you guys discussed the most. So I appreciate that. But I wasn't sure in your voice if you guys really were taking it that seriously or not. But you guys are right. And Wayne Palmer's the president. It's kind of like a John F. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, his younger brother. Well, Bobby Kennedy was well on his way to becoming president. Shot in the stomach, and killed at a campaign run. But so this means that we have had 6 presidents.
Jesus.
Lots of presidents.
6 presidents since the beginning of the season. Because one, there was whoever was the president while David Palmer was running during the first season that we were never introduced to. Then we had David Palmer, so 2. Then 3 we had Keeler. 4 we had Logan. 5 we had Hal Gardner. And then 6, this is the 6th president. Now, that depends if you want to say President Prescott, who took over for like 4 hours in the middle of season 2. If you want to count that, but I don't think we need to count that.
You should count that. He was a president.
Yeah, but people didn't think of him as the president like throughout the world, like they would have for all the other presidents. So, yeah. Anyway, so I guess we can kind of talk about it as we go along. But what do you think about the way of handling Jack, like, instead of having a season in China, which wouldn't have worked? Do you think
I didn't want to see a season in China. Sorry, not to be rude. Just didn't seem like an interesting storyline to me. Like, I get it. He killed the homeboy or was part of this raid that killed this guy. Big whoop-de-doo. So I'm glad that
he killed the homeboy.
He killed the homeboy. I'm glad they just, like, skipped right over that. I think the prequel was plenty enough to see that would have been extremely
just like
lackluster. Yeah. Should I say? And then I guess my only comment is like, when are they going to learn that Jack just knows like things? Why does it take so long to realize that Jack is the all-knowing?
Guys, this is the thing that bothered me the most and will always bother me and is pissing me off right now, is Curtis's reaction to Jack Bauer.
What do you mean? Like,
Curtis is looking at him with like disgust. When they left him left him handcuffed to the grate, Bill was like, "I'm so sorry. Like this shouldn't have happened." He's like, "Don't worry, Bill. Like I got this." And they walk away, and Curtis just looks like at him, like, ugh, and then turns around, doesn't say goodbye, doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, Curtis has been through some shit with Jack, though. Like,
yeah, Curtis also was with Jack going into the fucking embassy, where the consul was killed.
Ups and downs.
They haven't really had ups and downs. I mean, not any more than any other person that Jack's interacted with that is a power. Like, the last we saw of Curtis, he saved Audrey and because Jack was, dealing with a lot of shit. And yeah, I don't know why he would have any other reaction to him other than, my God, man, like, thank you for taking one on the chin for us. Like, this could just as well be me there. I was, the fucking head of field ops at CTU during this, and for some reason the guy gave up the name of Jack Bauer, and ever since then it's been up to Jack Bauer, and he's really lucky that he didn't ask for anybody else's name because Curtis is one of the people so to see Curtis not be, I understand why he has his gun prepared and all that kind of stuff, but to have no type of like remorse or feelings toward Jack Bauer, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him. Like, I just not into it at all, and it really pissed me off from day one. But you guys don't seem to care about Curtis and him.
I guess I didn't. I was so like caught up in the rest of what was going on, Jack's appearance and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't
that
really
I guess,
pull.
yeah, I guess I didn't even like. I didn't see the disgust that you're referencing, so my bad. I didn't notice.
Yeah, it is your fault.
But if I would have saw it, I'm sure I would have had the same angry reaction that you have.
He just, in general, if you just notice the way he's interacting, everything he does toward him just seems to be negative.
I guess I didn't see it so much as negative as apprehensive. I do remember Jack's like, I know it's being asked of me. You can put down your gun or whatever. Like, but I thought maybe he was being like apprehensive, like questioning if Jack was in the right state of mind to be in this situation. So he was just prepared for any outbursts, is how I took it.
Didn't he say, Jesus, Jack, like, what did they do to you over there? Like, look how screwed up you are.
Yeah.
Like, what they did. And that
maybe he's just upset that, that's condescending. Like, okay, well, sorry, like, my bad.
Yeah,
so, I get what you're saying, but maybe he was just...
I would be like, the thing that when they took me there because we raided a consulate to stop a nuclear warhead from going off in this country, and it worked, and it saved a lot of fucking lives, and we did it together, and then I just went through 20 months of torture because of it. Oh, they did a lot of stuff. Like, look at my hand and look at my back. Anyway, let's get started with the episode. Episode 601 aired on January 14th, 2007. It's from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. It was a part of a 4-episode, 2-night premiere. So the next 2 episodes aired on January 15th. So you guys even have to wait longer than the listeners had to. Starts with news about the terrorist bombings all over the country. There have been over 900 killed, and I think there were 1,600 killed on 9/11. So you can see that this is a lot. This is a ton of deaths. Like, could you even imagine if this was happening all over the country?
I mean, they kind of like I don't know. It just seems like I guess that was my only problem, or one of my problems with it, is that like it seemed a little bit too out there for it to be happening like this. I guess like attacks all over the country. I don't know, because I guess we've never seen anything quite like this.
Yeah, we've never seen anything like it. But France and Europe have dealt with this, and it's just harder.
Sure.
It's I don't know to this amount, but you can see that things are in a dire strait.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a station of TV just playing in the middle of some business district. Didn't you think that was weird? That there was this pole with 4 TVs hanging on it that all these people were gathered around watching, who were all playing Fox News, by the way. You notice how it's always Fox News for some weird reason?
I have not noticed that, actually.
Have you seriously
I would
not
hope
noticed
that
that?
it's Fox News.
No, not at all.
What if they were like playing like CBS or something?
Yeah. Anyway, so people are looking at the Middle Eastern guy with a backpack, and he tries to get on the bus with his backpack, but the driver profiles him and drives off.
They saved his life.
Yep. And then there's an Asian guy.
I thought that was well written.
Yeah, that showed what they really want to show is that people are being discriminated against right now, and that they didn't even open this up for this Middle Eastern guy with a backpack on. I have as much right to be in there as you. And then the Asian guy on there sets a bomb off and blows up many surrounding cars. It's a big bomb because there's a lot of surrounding cars.
Goes off like 12 times.
Big explosion. You can see they had the peak budget in this season. Then at the White House, Tom Lennox and Karen Hayes, who is now the National Security Advisor, and Tom Lennox is the Chief of Staff, they debate detention centers around the country. Which, when this was happening, I would be like, no way, this would never happen. When this happened, George Bush was president, and I was thinking, no way could this ever happen. Which is one of the things that I was like, this is a little ridiculous, a little hammy. We're watching this at a different time, and I could see this totally happening if this was happening in this country right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah.
I disagree.
You don't think so? You don't think that even one of these happened and you could start having detention centers around the country? I could see this happening with one of these.
I think we are, honestly, I think as a country we're past that, and I shouldn't say that, but I just think that's so frowned upon from history and like everything that we've learned that I just feel like that would be a very bad stance to take. So I don't agree.
What about the fact that we just had a president that won running on banning Muslims from entering the country? He just won the presidency.
But that's not I think anything that has the connotation of a concentration camp or a camp where we put people in any sense of the word and we force people to go to that camp is like completely different. I just disagree just because I like one of the areas of history that I really like enjoyed studying and learning about was like concentration camps and the Nazis and all of that stuff. So I just feel like that's like way beyond. That's like the word. Like you can't even have that freaking mustache without having being referenced to Hitler. Like it's so anti everything that I think that's just taking it a step too far. So I don't think it would happen today.
But this country did do it with Japanese Americans, and it wasn't
which is also
concentration camps. They were
but there were camps, and people put them in that same, and people still put them in that same light. And
but
still,
then again,
it's like extremely frowned upon.
if we talked 4 years ago and said that we would have somebody that would run on their platform, one of the biggest things on their platform was banning Muslims from entering the country. So anybody that was Muslim could not enter into the country. You would also be sitting there saying the exact same thing. No, there's no way our country is past that. But they elected him as president after him running on banning Muslims from entering the country.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he's our president, but I still don't think he'd go that far. I think he'd do a lot of things, but I don't know if we'd be putting people in camps. It's just a personal opinion.
Yeah, it's.
I think you're like really trying to get me to agree with you.
No.
I don't know if he's trying to. I think he's just a little bit playing the advocate here, just like trying to like.
I'm just surprised that I'm really surprised that that's the opinion that you're taking. So that's why I'm just.
I think that our current president is setting a lot of precedents and kind of crossing a lot of territory that hasn't been crossed as much or in the depth in the ways that he's doing it in the past, where something like this has happened in the past, and so that's why it's so frowned upon. We've already learned from this, and we've already done this and seen what the result is, and so I don't think that like he can go forward and do other shitty, stupid stuff, but I feel like that would be something that everyone's like universally has experienced it as a very negative thing. Where this other stuff he's doing, some people might agree, some people might disagree. And going forward,
the only backlash I would say about that is there's so much vitriol toward the Muslim community right now that I feel from a huge chunk of this country. Just seeing what people have to say on Facebook, like them saying that somebody wanting to build a mosque within like 6 blocks of the World Trade Center Tower, that people were up in arms about that, and there were that there's a problem with Muslim Americans in this country completely. 16 years after September 11th, and I feel like we didn't even. It's worse than it was even 10 years ago. Than it is right now, 16 years ago. Even though we haven't had a major attack in this country since September 11th, a major attack, guys. I know there have been attacks, but I'm just saying that I could see. Now the thing is, the difference here is this has been going on for months or for weeks, and it's over 900 people, and there's no stop in sight, and people are really freaking out. So to me, it's at the time that I watched this, I was completely with Christina, but I've seen the darkness of prejudice in this country since then in a way that I had never ever seen in my life before, and think it is definitely not something that the people of the U.S. would be against if they were going over weeks and weeks of suicide bombs on trains and buses. And when you see people talking, you see the family story. Oh God, we have the family story in every season.
Not ready to talk about that.
And the mom and the dad are discussing pulling this son out of school. Like, it's just showing that people all over the place are really afraid.
Sorry, jumping super ahead to like back to the show. And when they were talking about pulling him out of school, I legit thought this was like we were talking about like a 6 or 7 year old. And then when he like walked out and he's like a teenager, I just thought it was so funny. Like, come on.
Yeah, he was like, at the time, he was
hey, mom and dad, like what?
He was like 19 years old. The actor was like 19 years
old. I thought we were talking about a little kid. Like, I don't want him to be confused or send him to school and he's scared. And then it's like an adult. I'm like, come on.
So anyways, like Christina says, Wayne Palmer, when they're discussing the detention centers, first of all, he says he's been in office in 3 months. When I took the office 3 months ago, it was to defend and protect the Constitution. And then Tom Link says, what about the American people? And he talks about Roosevelt's detention of Japanese being seen as shameful by most historians. And then they get word of another attack. And we find out that Amri al-Assad is in charge of these attacks, and they paid a steep price to get an asset, which is Jack Bauer, to give to an informant in exchange for Assad's whereabouts. Which is kind of kind of a stretch. My gosh, like the amount of they apparently paid a steep price. We never find out what that price is. They discuss it many times that they paid a steep price to get Jack Bauer, just for the chance that this guy is going to go along with it and to give up an American agent that's been in a suffering for 20 months. Whatever they paid, they couldn't have paid this price earlier.
Well, isn't it the case that, well, I guess they aren't necessarily considered terrorists, right? Because we don't negotiate with terrorists, quote unquote. So, like, I wonder if it was just like beyond.
We've seen on the show.
We do the show.
Yeah,
does.
the show. Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to think too. Is like, why, if Jack's life was worth whatever steep price they paid? Now, obviously, they're leveraging Jack's life for something else. But like, Jack, you guys don't want Jack back anyways. Like, wait, what? Like, especially
why didn't you guys
Palmer,
get him back
like,
already? Yeah, why didn't Wayne Palmer Like, if I would love to see that Wayne Palmer on this day got him back, and it wasn't for anything, it's just coincidentally that today he got him back because he's been working ever since he got into office to get Jack back. And then once Jack goes back, the terrorists find out.
Right,
somehow.
And then it's like, oh, we want you.
And then they're like, you know what, we want Jack. And he goes, no way, I just worked forever to get him back, to save him for him, for all the things he did for me. And all that kind of stuff, and then they say, "No, I want this." But whatever, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. We can deal with it.
Milo, isn't it weird? Never, as a show, had a 5-season gap in between a character. He's in season 1, and then he's in season.
Yeah, weird. Where's he been the whole time? Like, just in a different department?
Yeah, something like that.
Floor
Maybe he
7?
was on vacation.
I think he was on floor 7.
So then he argues with Morris O'Brien, who.
Love.
Yeah, don't worry. He's not the worst character in the world. He's just odd. It seems like he's in a different show, which I guess isn't a bad thing. But he just does feel like no other character we've ever seen on the show, right?
Who?
Morris O'Brien.
Oh, I don't mind him.
I'm not. But if you just hear what I said, I didn't say do we mind him. I said that he's just different than any other character. I said he's not the end of the world, and he's different than any other character we've had in the show. He seems like he's in a different.
Huh. Okay.
Do you agree that he seems like a different character than?
I mean, he's different than the other characters on the show. Yes, I agree.
Do you see what I mean by that? He seems like he's in a different show.
I don't know what other show I would see him in. I feel like he belongs in the show. He's just it's a different.
He seems like he's on the show 2 Girls, a Guy, in a Pizza Place.
And Chloe
I love that show.
I was gonna think Justin would never have gotten that reference. Anyway.
That was a real show?
Yes, there was a real show called.
100% a joke.
Oh. No,
I thought it was a joke too. Sorry, Dylan.
You don't remember that? I think Ryan Reynolds was. That's how Ryan Reynolds got famous.
No, don't remember.
Sorry. Talk about what you guys think about. How about Chloe gets involved between Milo
Chloe's
and
new hairdo. That's what I want to talk about. Hey, Chloe. Right?
Looking on fleek, huh?
Yeah.
I like it.
You guys didn't like it?
She's looking like a more mature, grown-up person.
Yeah. I thought she looked nice. I think they're
why are you being quiet?
I think it's gonna be.
Answer, Justin. What do you think?
You're talking to me about Chloe's new hairdo?
Yeah, what do you think?
It was cute.
I don't want to talk about Chloe's new hairdo.
Why not?
Because I don't give a fuck about Chloe's new hairdo.
He has better fish to fry. Okay, but in all seriousness, I think it's gonna be an interesting dynamic between her and her ex-husband, now boyfriend, because he obviously can. He can obviously read her in ways that other people might not even.
He grabs her ass at work.
That was weird, but he gets her in ways that other people don't. So I think
that that's to me all the time at work.
Yeah.
So inappropriate. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how he. First of all, does he support her? And it seems like he's going to, and how he's able to support her to help. Because he's obviously smart and has his own abilities, and he's capable of things that maybe she needs his help on. So I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see how now, is this another person in Jack's corner? Or is this guy going to turn on us? Is there something we should be worried about? Or should we believe him? I'm curious to see the dynamics. Because you can't trust anyone, right? There's going to be some kind of mole. I'm sure. Every season there's a mole. There's a mole and there's a family. So who's the mole? We already met the family.
So, guys, originally titled Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, is an American sitcom
Oh,
created by
gosh.
Kenny Schwartz and Danny Jacobson. Originally broadcast on ABC from March 1998 till May 16, 2001. 81 episodes were aired over 4 seasons. The series starred Ryan Reynolds, Traylor Howard, and Richard Rucciolo as the title character. So this is where it made...
Rucciolo.
81 episodes of
That's
this?
a lot of episodes. Should we rewatch that?
And
Also,
can we
what
do Two
channel
Girls
was
and a
it
Pizza
on?
Place?
ABC, and Ryan Reynolds was the
ABC.
main character, and this was one thing that made him more famous. And the second season saw the arrival of 2 recurring actors, Nathan Fillion and some other actors that I've never heard of. But Nathan Fillion, who is from Firefly, and now he's on the show Bones.
Bones, dude. Bones. Isn't he Bones?
I think he is.
Yeah, he's Bones.
I think it's... Anyway. But, yeah, so that's the some fun fact with Two Guys, a Girl, at a Pizza Place. That was later renamed in the last 2 seasons, Two Guys and a Girl. They changed the name. Anyway.
They got rid of the pizza place, huh?
They got rid... maybe they found out that test audiences did not enjoy the pizza. Anyway.
Or maybe they found out that it sounds like a porn.
We meet Nadia, who apparently is second in command. Only thing we really find out about her is that she is Middle Eastern and she speaks Arabic. And
Oh gosh.
sure, if you want to talk about her physical appearance, because you can't respect her work ethic or how amazing or strong woman
That
she
shit
is.
is a dish.
Has anybody seen Vegas Vacation?
No.
Like as in with
The film
like,
Vegas Vacation?
Yeah, like the family.
Yeah.
Like what's the other movie? Is that the daughter?
That's the daughter from Vegas Vacation.
That's the daughter. I love that. What does he say? I'm walking here. You know?
No, I think that's
Okay.
from
Is that the other one?
Midnight Cowboy.
No, I don't even know what Midnight Cowboy is.
Midnight Cowboy?
Yeah, the line "I'm walking here" is from Midnight Cowboy, but maybe they
But
reference
he
that.
does it in
Maybe-
Vegas
yeah, maybe they
Vacation.
reference
Thank you
that.
very much.
Maybe they reference it in Vegas. Anyway,
He does when he's in Vegas.
so Bill and Curtis meet at the Chinese airport. This is just after Chloe finds out that Jack's being exchanged, and she don't like it.
She's
So
nervous for her man.
Bill and Curtis meet at the Chinese at the airport. Chang is there to hand over a dirty, bearded Jack Bauer, and his hand we see is terribly burned and scarred. They
One that thinks Jack Bauer looks a little fat for
Yeah, and then when they
for 18 months.
But what's weird is when they shave his face, I was like, wow, he's thinner. Like I think it's just the makeup, or I thought the exact same thing when they showed him like in the car, all clean shaven.
Yeah.
He looked skinny again.
I was corrected by John in the chat. It's Castle, not Bones. Correct.
Oh, Castle. He's
Bones.
Castle. Yeah.
Bones, I think, was a David Boreanaz, I think, was on Bones. So that solves that issue. Who is Angel from Buffy, the Buffy and Vampire Slayer. Anyway, so they comment that Jack had never broke a silence, and apparently Wayne Palmer paid a hand. So let's talk about his hand being terribly burned and scarred. This looked normal right here when you see it, but as the season goes along, I'm telling you, it's the worst makeup effect that we've ever seen on the show.
Oh yeah,
It
I guess
looks
I
like
didn't
a bunch
think about
of
the fact that
rubber-
His hand is going to be burned the whole time.
It looks like a bunch of rubber cement is put all over his hand in every scene. Like you see the scar makeup peeling off all the time. You just see him looking there. It looks like it's peeling off. It's bad.
Ew.
I could tell
That
that
doesn't
they
sound
probably
good.
regretted doing it as the season's gone on. They were probably like, "Dang, we shouldn't have done."
Well,
it.
because then he's gonna have this scar forever, right?
Well,
Every season thereafter,
So
or
this
is it like
is
supposed to be a
fresh.
fresh wound?
This is fresh,
wound.
yeah,
Fresh
so-
wound. Okay.
he
Flesh
doesn't have.
wound,
It's not.
fresh
He
wound.
doesn't have. He doesn't have
Fleshy
rubber cement
fresh.
dangling off his hand for the rest of the series.
Ew. That just sounds unappetizing.
Flesh
So-
wound, fresh wound.
So yeah,
Although I guess it's supposed to be appetizing, huh?
they tell him Wayne is president now. Like, oh my god, you could have had no way of knowing.
Well,
Wayne
they
is
said
president now.
Palmer,
Yeah.
not Wayne.
And he was-
That's
Yeah,
why I
he,
was like,
he says President
say
Palmer. He's like,
what?
what?
wait, so he wasn't dead. Christina was right.
And Abu Fayed wants Jack dead for the info, and he had tortured and killed his brother, Abu Fayed's, a long time ago that we never found out.
At first, I would thought they were talking about your boy, Teenage Sheriff. What's his name?
Baruz.
Baruz. When he said Bayed or I don't know. I just thought he said Baruz, and I was like, you've got to be kidding
Christina
me.
is culturally insensitive. She can't tell the difference in Middle Eastern names.
Oh,
Sorry,
sort of like
yeah.
the second
Oh.
episode. That's
Oh,
not even
Christina.
my name. We're not friends.
I don't even. We'll get to that when we get to it because that is a classic, terrible.
I'm sure
terrible 24.
You're waiting to recite it.
That's a classic bad 24 line.
I love when there's moments in 24 that aren't meant to be funny, and I find myself laughing out loud. Those to me are the best.
Like I said,
is that like every Chloe moment ever?
No, Chloe's meant to be funny. That was supposed to be serious, and I like literally had to cover my mouth because I was laughing.
Yeah, that was supposed to be
moments.
like a.
Oh, what a dig
moment. He doesn't know.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, jeez.
So,
okay, sorry. Jumping way ahead.
They say that we're asking you to sacrifice yourself, and he says, Audrey, she doesn't know you're back. Daughter, she doesn't know either. You keep it that way. Pretty good stuff. And then he says, I know it's been asking me, Curse, you don't need your firearm. And it's kind of a clever way of showing that Jack still has his wits, at least to some extent. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was the point of that. They brought him clothes and shaving equipment, and it doesn't show him shaving, which I think the fans were in uproar about.
I would love to see that.
But he didn't lose his ability to get a nice clean shave.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be like tough to not shave for 2 years and then remember how to do it and get yourself a nice looking face again.
Yeah. But he did it pretty quickly. He did it in like 6 minutes.
Yeah, this is good discussion
and
point.
Styled his own hair.
Yeah, this is content right here.
But he like styled his own hair too. Like he has a hair that's. I can see if he like shaved his head. That would have been pretty badass if he just had a shaved head, Jack Bauer. But.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway, so. And when he takes his shirt off, he's revealed his scarred back, and Curtis looks at him like, "Ugh, gross." Son of a fucking bitch. Sorry.
Maybe
Curtis Curtis. I think Curtis is gonna. I think Curtis is gonna die soon, and Dylan's gonna celebrate.
Oh yeah.
Curtis is like. Why do I think Curtis is gonna die? Because he's expendable and he's already been around for a long time.
He's super expendable for sure.
Yeah, and he's already been there longer than I think most of us thought he would survive. And like they brought him back. I think they're bringing him back to pretend like he's kind of an important character.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, he's not really an important character.
Is so
you're right, girl.
Weird.
You're right.
The bending over backwards that you do to come up with.
Oh, she right though.
Yeah,
so,
I think I'm right.
So
bending over backwards. That was pretty spot on, actually. I didn't even bend.
Chloe's been in the show longer.
Yeah, but Chloe is a main character. Like
she's not expendable as much.
Right. He's like I'm sort of important.
But don't you think they want to kill off
important.
characters that we would care about?
But Chloe is like the lifeline from Jack to CTU.
Also, they're like losing important characters that we care about. Like if there's going to be 3 more seasons of this, like they can't kill everybody.
I have to say how much I feel like this show is missing the presence of Tony and Michelle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe it.
Well, just like more characters that we care about.
At least we have Bill. We have Bill and we have Chloe. At least we do like Karen by now because she became a hero at the end of the last season.
By the way, as well.
Speaking of Karen, looks like Bill and Karen got their breakfast.
Dude.
They got their breakfast.
They got their breakfast and more.
He got that dinner too. You know what
I'm
saying?
What about dessert? Did they have dessert?
Oh. Hey, so
I'm gonna throw up. I think.
Yeah. So the thing is, they had their first date and
they got married right away.
And then got married within 20 months, which is pretty quick. But hey, these guys are a little older.
When you ain't got time to waste.
Yeah, they ain't got time to waste.
Christina, that's what I've been telling you. Come on.
I like how they showed they're married by having her twirl.
Exactly what's happening.
They showed that they're married by having her twirl her wedding ring.
Yeah, and then you scope his too, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I think that was an interesting way. Although they make it over by saying "I miss you" and stuff like that, but I still think that was a clever way of just like having somebody.
Shit's adorable, by the way.
touch their wedding ring while they're talking. Chloe basically blackmails Nadia into explaining to her the situation, and Fayed wants revenge for Jack killing him. And he was killed during interrogation, which was a very intense interrogation. If you want these attacks to stop, Jack Bauer has to be sacrificed. Which I feel like was a line that was just set up for the trailer, because that was in the trailer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I stopped you guys from watching the trailer is because I didn't want you guys to know that Wayne Palmer was president. I wanted that to be a surprise.
Yeah, that was a nice surprise. I enjoyed that.
But it wasn't a surprise for me, because they announced it like...
I don't think anything is a surprise. Oh, you mean at the time?
They announced it like 3 months after the season 5 ending, when they were working on casting. They were like, Wayne Palmer's going to be the president. It was all right. Apparently, the terrorists wouldn't survive without Assad. they put a lot of weight into this whole like they need
Theory?
cut off the head of the snake theory.
Yeah.
Anyway, we see Jack all shaven. Palmer talks to him on the phone, explains the situation, apologizes for asking him to do this, and Jack is very despondent, and he just says, "I know what's expected of me."
God, I freaking love your vocabulary, Dylan.
And Palmer is also he's unsure of his ability to run the country, and Lennox says, "It doesn't matter, you're running it, so kind of pointless for you to even be having that." Then we also see that Lennox is a complete blowhard. Like, Hayes confronts Lennox about setting up detention centers around the country, and he's going against the president's orders, but he's like, "I'm just setting it up in case he changes his mind," which I think he will do, which is like, dude.
Oh, how noble of you.
There's a lot of friction between Lennox and Karen Hayes, obviously. Fayed calls Bill and says to cuff Bauer to the sewer grate, and he says no, but then Fayed hangs up. He's like, "Listen here, you son of a bitch." Click. And Jack says, "Go ahead, let's do this. I don't care." And then he says the line, "You know the difference between dying for something and dying for nothing? Day I could die for something." Which is like, really?
Great.
Is this dying for something, though?
Yeah, more than nothing. I thought that was great. I thought you would be all over that. I thought you'd be like gushing with excitement over those
I
words.
don't
Okay,
know, but
okay.
they keep saying Jack Bauer has to be sacrificed, and today I get to die for something. You got to die for something, die for nothing. Situations happening in this first episode that's just crammed down our throats. That I just like. I don't know if I even buy the whole predication in the first place. But what were you gonna say, Justin?
I got a question. So at this point, if you're big fan of the show, big fan of Jack Bauer, like you see him, you see that he's like got to get sacrificed, and you see that he's getting cuffed up. Are you like you're not concerned for the character? So what are you thinking about?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Like he's not.
Like,
nothing's
like
actually
nothing's
gonna
gonna happen to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what are you like? Even if you're watching the show live, like even if it's the first time watching the show,
Yeah. We know he's not gonna
Like,
die. There's no.
he's not gonna die.
Yeah. There's no
So-
stakes to this.
There's no stakes, right? So like,
Yeah.
what are you like? Are you still enjoying this, even though there's absolutely zero stake?
Not really, to be honest. And the trailers
Okay.
also showed him in big action sequences, also. So for us, we knew he was going to be out of custody, also at some point. So it didn't. Yeah, there was no.
No surprises.
Yeah.
No surprises
I
here.
agree. I agree with you. If this isn't Audrey in this situation, this isn't somebody that could die.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Literally
anybody
anybody
else.
else. Yeah.
So he said he stayed alive in China because he didn't want to die for nothing, and he says it's kind of a relief to be able to die if in this situation, which is sad. And then he apologizes and says bye. Curtis says nothing. Just gives him a judgmental look. We see our family storyline. They're discussing they're putting their son out of school, and their son's friend's dad is being arrested, seemingly without a warrant. And Cal Penn plays Ahmed, who is from, a lot of people would know from
Yeah.
And Kumar.
Harold and Kumar.
Yes.
He, after this, I think the year after this, Obama became elected, and he worked in the White House for the first 3 or 4 years, working with. It was kind of like a Hollywood, and government kind of working together, just how they could work together, type of thing or whatever, which is beneficial, which can be beneficial to have, famous people on your side when you're trying to work on something like that. So he worked as a liaison between Hollywood and the White House, which I think a lot of people would hear and think that's a bad thing. Sure, whatever. We have a reality TV star as president now. We had the Republicans had an actual movie star as president with Ronald Reagan. So it's not necessarily means any bad thing by having it, but maybe some people are sick of having Hollywood involved in politics. But anyway, he gets harassed by his neighbors. They come and break down the door. So fucking stupid.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb, especially where it ends up. It just was dumb all the way around.
It's just as bad as the second season, having those racists that come and beat the former agent to
homeboy
death.
to a pulp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just dumb.
Dumb.
Ray intervenes. That's the dad's name, to stop his son from having to do it himself, and he stops them. So you have to get through me. He's like, "What? Fight a white person? I'm not going to do that. So I'm out of here."
Bye.
And then
That's not what I signed up for.
Jack gets picked up in a van, and Fayed said he's been waiting a long time for this. And then Morris stupidly sends a secret satellite to watch them, and their computer guy picks up on it and then calls Nadia, and they figure out what's happening, and they made Morris turn away, and Fayed seems like this might break the deal. And everyone's like looking at Chloe and Morris like, you are so stupid. Why'd you do?
Yeah.
Anyway, Buchanan's really livid. He says that, hey, listen, you're not the only one upset about this.
I like how angry he is.
I do too.
That's fun.
But he's like, you're not the only person that's upset about this. He cares about Jack too, which surprisingly you don't see Curtis say in the background. And then he says that they may have sacrificed Jack for nothing.
Surprisingly, you don't see your Curtis in the background. Is that what you just said?
What? Yeah, you don't see him
because you're like so mad about Curtis.
Yeah. And then Fayed doesn't call, and Hayes flips out on Bill, saying, if this doesn't go through, detention centers are probably going to happen in this country. Will never recover. Jack gets brought into a room to be tortured, and says he's going to go through the same torture his brother did. And they cut his shoulder and start pouring something on it. They basically start torturing him. And then Fayed explains that he's the one doing the attacks, and the Sana is coming to try to stop him. And he says, "You'll die for nothing," which just follows the theme that I get to die for something, which you never heard him say, but then for some reason he responds with the exact opposite of what he wants to hear, that he'll die for nothing. And that inspires Jack to
try harder.
Try harder, right? So he calls and gives Hassan's location, and then he almost cuts off the tip of Jack's finger, but stops because he got a phone call.
Very important phone call. I don't know if I would stop for many things if I was in the middle of torturing somebody.
Right. Well, every time that I've been in the middle of it and I've given a phone call, I've always picked up.
You've always stopped.
He didn't ask who or what is it about, or he doesn't just go, okay, no problem, snip, cuts the finger off, and then go take the phone call. He, for some reason, stops because he got the phone call. And we find out that Ahmed's dad is innocent. But he's not. He's involved, and he has a package that's extremely important. And then while Fayed's out there, Jack pretends to flatline by ripping his pad off, and when the guard comes in, Jackula comes to play. That is what the internet lovingly called this sequence, Jackula, for him biting the dude's throat out. Then he takes the keys, uncuffs himself, and escapes. And then,
I was thinking prior to this that Jack is in a bit of a sticky situation. I was curious how he would get himself out of this one.
That was a cool escape, though, like how he made it look like he went through one way and ended up being in the sewer or whatever. That's cool.
Yeah, I was like, how's he going to do this time? Jack, what are you up to?
What are you up to there, J-Bones?
Beep, beep, beep. Next episode was 602. They aired on January 14th, 2007. It's from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. They search for Jack, like you said. He kind of gave a diversion, and he's actually in the sewer. And they decide it's not even worth it that he knows the truth. Which, boy, are they wrong. So then he leaves an aqueduct pipe, steals a card, finds a cell phone.
Yeah, that was a very convenient sequence.
And it's like, already, he's back to speaking, like, full sentences. Too.
Right. I know, that's what was funny.
Also, he remembers CTU phone number, which, that's fine. I can imagine. I still remember.
Yeah, I know my mom's phone number.
It's fine. And after 20 months, that's fine. But he calls it, then it switches to CTU, and it shows them talking for a second, then saying, Jack Bauer's on line 1. He got through that quick. Whatever, that's fine. So, and then also, this is a great scene to see how fake his hand scar is, because you really get to see the rubber cement in this. But you guys will notice it throughout the whole season, so don't worry. So he says to call up the strike, and Bill's like, I can't do it. The president's ordering it. And he says, transfer me to the president. I'll explain it to him. And we find out that Hassan is actually trying to unradicalize his guys. And when he explains that to Palmer, Hayes and Lennox both try to dissuade him, and it works. They won't call it the strike. And so Jack hangs up and decides he has to take matters into his own hands. Dun, 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 dun. Dun,
it's Jack
dun,
time.
Dun,
It's
dun,
Jack
dun.
Time for Jack to do some stuff.
So Ahmed,
this is a great song.
Ahmed is ordered to go home to get the package, and we see that him and Scott are pretty tight. They're pretty BFFs.
Thicker than thieves.
Jack arrives at the location Hassan is supposed to be at, breaks in to save him and his men from the strike. He figures out that one of his men must be betraying him, and he's right. And they run from the building, and most of his men are killed. For some reason, they stay back for their computers. I don't get why they stay back for the computers, but they all.
The
they're
computers are going to
get. They were uploading the data.
The computers are going to get blown up, guys.
Yeah, but maybe not the cloud. They're uploading the data. I was okay with that.
But they only did it for
what
like
year was this?
30 seconds. They only did it for like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
before
dude.
They saved a lot of
Quick
data.
ass
with
data,
it.
dude.
And they took the dude with him that was the traitor. And at first I was like, why the hell are they doing this? But they ended up getting information out of him, so it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the White House gets confirmation that the target's been hit. Then we meet Sandra Palmer,
Yeah.
who's since become famous. Regina King.
Yeah, she's very famous.
She's an Emmy-nominated actress now. For Scandal or How Do We Get Away with Murder, one of the ABC shows. One of the shows on ABC. Do you know, Chrissy?
Yeah. I was just laughing because those just happen to be two shows that have like African American leads. So
woman lead.
thought it was funny that you used those two. No, unfortunately, Dylan, I do not know the answer to the question.
See, the thing is, she happens to be in a show with African Americans in it.
Yeah, no, and I believe it, but it was just funny.
She was also
She
was also in season 2 and season 3 of The Leftovers too. She was famous in that, but she was also the wife of Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire. Fun fact.
Oh.
Fun fact. I'm sorry. She was in American Crime. And still is, I believe. She's currently in American Crime, which is
a show.
Yeah, which is a show that is on ABC, and it's way different. And that was stupid of me. Anyway, I think she got an Emmy nomination for it too, or something like that. Kind of fun, interesting. Or no, Golden Globe. Golden Globe. Be different. Anyway, enough of this, guys.
Wow, this was rough.
This is boring
Very
content.
rough.
So is it weird meeting a new Palmer sibling right now?
I'm surprised that we haven't met her previously, considering everything that's happened, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
She just had nothing to do with those days.
But...
Like, they just didn't talk to their sister on those days.
Yeah, like, didn't call her, like, hey, brother's been shot, you know, so.
Yeah, but we also didn't get a lot of Wayne, like, after the murder. Or, like, there was a couple hours where we lost him for a little while, so maybe that's what he was doing.
She was probably planning what she was going to be doing that whole time.
Yeah,
Not on the phone dealing with terrorists.
Right.
But, so, anyway. So, one of her clients is being profiled by the FBI, and the employee says, let's go along with it, but she's like, no. No, we will not. And his name is Waleed. She's like, no, we can't let them trample all over the Constitution. And then she calls Wayne, and it's like, hey, dude, this is happening. And he's like, hey, I'm trying to save people's lives. And she's like, Tom is trampling on the Constitution. And she said, and he's like, you never liked Tom. And she said, neither did David.
Yeah.
So that's important. And that seems to affect Wayne. But then I find out that client is more than just her client.
Little quick Mac sesh.
Oh, gosh. I don't know which one of you is doing that, but it's disgusting. I don't know how I do this podcast with you guys. I might retire.
The White House finds out that the attack didn't kill Assad, and again, I just can't believe how much they're relying on this cut off the head of the snake strategy. Like, if they kill him, that's all going to stop. I just don't understand why they think that that's to solve it. Also, D.B. Woodside, who plays Wayne Palmer, he's not a good actor, and he's not a good actor now.
Who plays which Palmer? Wayne?
Wayne Palmer, yeah.
The Palmer.
He was bad.
Oh,
he was bad, and we talked about it a lot in season 3 that he was bad.
What is he in now?
He was kind of forgotten in season 5 because he was dealing with a lot of emotional shit. So he was like, we kind of forgot that he was a bad actor because he kind of just, he got to be upset about his brother, and that was fine. He wasn't just being a regular person. And he's kind of then being just dealing with whatever he's dealing with in this, and it's not very convincing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. He's no David. Tell you what.
Tell you what.
Tell us what.
That's it. End of the story.
He's since been in the series Suits and Lucifer, which is, I believe, on Fox. And Anyway, not impressed by him as an actor, and it doesn't get better, in my opinion. So we see Fayed, and he's setting up a new suicide bomber, and he has a lock on their vest to make sure they don't chicken out, but he's like, don't worry, I won't fail you. And then Jack and Hassan bring in Hassan's, traitor to interrogate him, even though the guy says, actually, Hassan, you are the traitor. And then Hassan looks in shock seeing Jack's back. Everybody kind of does, because Jack changed his shirt that was covered in blood. Chloe shows Bill that Jack rescued Assad on satellite footage. So he says to keep it between them for now, which I'm like, hey, cool guy Bill. Like, kind of being the man right now, right? Yeah, I'm glad he didn't show Curtis, because Curtis would have just showed disgust on his face. And then Jack starts interrogating the Fayed guy and stops, and he says, why? And he says, I can see it in his eyes. And then Assad goes at him. He puts a knife right into the dude's kneecap.
And gets the info that he's looking for.
Yep, gets the info he needs immediately. The guy starts spitting out information. And Jack, so we see that Jack's off. And then Jack even says, I don't know how to do this anymore. And he says, you remember.
Yeah, you will.
You remember.
It'll start coming back pretty naturally.
Which I think is cool to see that Jack's like, nah, he's not. But Jack just empathized with the guy too much. Right?
Yeah, and I also like watching the blade go in that guy's.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. I have to say, I have to agree with you on that. So Henry calls Sandra and says the FBI is back, and they let him use it with some BS warrant. Who cares? Blah blah. Sandra goes and erases everything and gets arrested. The president's sister gets arrested. All right, that's fine. The racist neighbors attack Ahmed again, and he assaulted and attempted to murder a neighbor. Out of nowhere, he just goes over to the house, breaks in, then just starts throwing him through coffee tables, just kicking his ass. What in what world would this dude just stroll over there and just starts kicking this guy's ass after his father was just arrested? The police are involved. There's no way. Like, are you gonna go commit murder just because? What is happening?
Are you mad? Are you mad?
I don't think he likes it.
Or did you not like what happened in this scene?
And then Ahmed defends himself by shooting the fuck out of him, and that's actually legally within his rights to murder him because of the situation that just happened. He's completely in his rights. Breaking in there and starts kicking his ass. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to kill him if that was happening on the streets. But breaking into his house, you could kill somebody just for breaking into their house. Like, you don't even have to attack somebody in their house. If you break into somebody's house, you have the right to kill them. So anyway, Scott arrives, just to come by for a visit. Then Ahmed pulls a gun on him. He says, "Hey man, we're friends." He goes, "Friends? We're not even friends, Christina. You don't even say my name.
It's Dylon.
It's not Ahmed. It's Ahmed." It's classic line that everyone mocks. Like, you can, any like big 24 fan, you can quote that too, and they'll laugh along with you because that was just going all over the place. That was like a meme. Jack and his son go to the place that he got the info from, the dude that they tortured. And it's a train station. It's a bombing site, and Jack goes after them, and it's very like tense, like heist music. It reminded me of the score of the movie Heat, which I know Justin's probably never even heard of.
I've heard of it,
but it's a lot. It's a lot like the score of Heat in this whole sequence. I won't dare to try to mimic the score, but Hassan finds one of the terrorists, and Jack says he'll go after the terrorists. And you follow the handler. He goes, okay, which I don't know why they are so textbook about the way they're doing this suicide bombing. The terrorists are, but whatever.
The terrorists are? Because they gotta be.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we gotta go there. We have to have one person be the handler and one person be the bomber. Okay, let's go do this. Let's do this at the train station. Let's do it in a way that we've been doing for years, and obviously the government knows that that's how they do it because Jack
haven't been caught yet.
Yeah, why did he need a handler? Why did he need somebody with him? Why didn't he just go?
Handler.
Anyway, and then whatever. That would just leave people to identify that person because they'll trace back, hey, this guy entering the train, oh, he was standing next to this other Middle Eastern guy. Let's now follow cam footage and Caltrans footage of them going all the way back to wherever they can. And he got into a car. Now we have his license plate. Like, it just seems like a stupid way to get yourself caught, but whatever. And then the guy asked Jack for his ticket. And out of it, Jack's like, my name is Jack Bauer. I'm a federal agent. You have a terrorist on this train. Move out of the way or he's going to be suspicious and blow it. Move out of the way.
See how soon it's coming back? Homeboy
Yeah.
was right.
Yep. Yeah. And he's not a federal agent, by the way. He hasn't been on the books for 20 months.
Yeah.
Or
if you
no,
look that up,
longer
I don't
than
think
that.
I don't think it would pass. I don't
3
think
years,
that would.
3 years and 2 months.
That wouldn't check out, Jack.
So Jack finds a guy in the back, which doesn't make sense for him to be in the back. If you were a terrorist detonating a bomb, wouldn't you do it in the front or the middle of the train?
Where you can do the most damage. Yeah.
The front, you could probably kill everybody on the train. The back, you're only just going to kill the people that are in the back. And they couldn't have Jack kick the dude off. So anyway, so then he senses that the ticket guy knows he's up to it. So he pulls out the detonator, and then Jack sees it and grabs it from him, and they wrestle for a little bit, and the guy's able to get the bomb detonated, and then it makes a sound, a high-pitched sound instead of just going off when he hits the button. And he says, Allah Akbar, and then Jack kicks him out the back window, and he blows Jack back, which is cool. Like the kick, he's not even done going through the air from the kick, and he gets blown backwards by the explosion. And does this count as a kill?
Yes, 100%.
I say no.
No, it doesn't actually. I agree.
Do you think it counts as a kill?
Well, we never kept that running list of kills by.
But like this wasn't influenced by Jack at all.
Yeah, Jack.
Like the only thing that Jack influenced was the position in which this guy blew himself up.
Yep.
Like he was gonna kill himself either way.
Yep. I don't think this is a kill.
Yes, I actually, now that you put it that way, I completely and 100%.
Oh, my mother always told me I should be a lawyer.
I agree with you.
So apparently, Bill hears a phone call that 2 different bombings happened around the country at the exact same time. The third one apparently was kicked off, and only the suicide bomber died. And it was by a federal agent identifying themselves as Jack Bauer, even though Jack never talked to anybody and identified himself as Jack Bauer to anybody.
Wait.
I'm Jack Bauer, and you're getting off this train.
Get off my train.
Wait, you said he didn't identify himself?
No, he didn't talk to anybody. Oh, no, you're right. He did. He talked to the ticket guy. You're completely right.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yep, never mind. Forget I said that. C2 intercepts a call confirming Fayed is in charge. And then Wayne's like, Jack was right. He was right all along. This is about to get so much worse. Which I don't know if he means, why does he think it's going to get worse just because Jack was right about something?
Because you know what happens when Jack's right?
There's more coming.
He's right.
Am I right or is he right? Or am I right?
Am I right or is Jack right?
Jack's always right. If it's you or Jack, it's
because you know what happens when Jack's wrong.
He's actually right. No, it's the long con.
All right, guys, bring it in, huh? Let's not go off topic.
Bring it back.
Sorry.
Russell in the chat field said, "You'd think people would know what Jack Bauer looks like by now, anyway." Perhaps, especially bringing down the president. By the last season, I'll say people know who Jack Bauer is. Like you see people saying, "That's Jack Bauer. That's Jack Bauer."
You can only save the world so many times. Huh?
Right. Yeah, so I agree. I don't know if the ticketing guy would necessarily recognize him, but yeah, people in government.
That's Jack
by
Bauer.
now, people in government all know who he is, though. I don't think anybody in government would be surprised to hear who Jack Bauer was.
Right.
As far as I can think, I don't know. Jack calls Assad and says, "Stay with the handler. He's our only connection to Fayed," and leaves us on this 100% insanely wonderful cliffhanger. And then it goes beep, 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 which I think was pretty lame of a cliffhanger to leave.
Yeah, I actually was like, wait, was that...
That's it.
Was that the end of that?
Same with the first episode. It was disappointing, but luckily we had another 2 episodes the next night. But you guys have to wait a week, even though you're not really waiting a week.
1 whole week.
Yeah,
anyway,
2 weeks actually.
Kill count +1
for J-Dog.
Yeah, it's for Jacula.
Wait, for the neck bite?
For the neck bite.
That's all? That was all he did?
That's the only
Jay
kill count.
Bones. Neck bite for Jay Bones.
Total kill count is 133 on 122 episodes.
Nice. I like
We're
the
getting
ratio.
close.
Yeah, well, I don't think we'll ever catch up. I don't think we're ever gonna have a time where, because right now we would need 11 episodes to go without a kill for us to catch up. We'll never. We lost the chance of them ever syncing up. We tried.
Yeah, I mean, if we had a season of Jack in the holding cell, then maybe we would have caught up.
I wish we did.
Don't we all?
Wait. Should we be counting the prequels though? There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 prequels? Those count. No? Okay.
I don't know.
Hypothetically speaking.
Cutter Mike.
Lewis
Dang it.
Cutter Mike.
Cutter Mike.
Yeah, I don't know. Right.
I guess I'll
tweet us in at Legacy of 24 and tell us if you think that we should count deaths that happen in the prequel or not. Maybe but we didn't in the past, so we didn't count the season 5 ones when he killed the people and that we didn't count those.
I mean, you can always go back though.
Yeah, but we're not going to, so we're officially not going to count those. All right.
Okay.
So don't tweet us.
Don't tweet us. Tweet us about how amazing Christina Vanderslice is, but not.
That's right.
We haven't gotten a review in a while. Somebody write us a review so we can hear the wonderful
Please
angelic
write us a
voice.
review.
Like we could listen to her read the phone book. So it would be interesting to see her read another review. I don't know about you guys.
Agreed.
Anything? Do you guys have any predictions? Anything you want to discuss about this?
I think Jack's gonna get in a lot of trouble before it gets good. You know what I mean? Like things are gonna get bad before they go right.
Right now, he's working with a former terrorist. 20th. He's working with the former terrorist that was a terrorist for 20 years.
Yeah.
So,
I'm curious if we're at Big Boss or is this like a 10-layer boss
dude,
situation?
we're at 10-layer boss.
10-layer
situation.
boss? Okay.
What show are you watching, Tina? You watching?
It's like a 7-layer.
You watching
bingo.
Bones or you watching 24? We got a 10-layer situation.
We're
here.
just at the cheddar cheese right now. The beans come at the end.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
that was so freaking weird. That was just a weird thing.
No, that was good.
What are you talking
Dude,
about?
that was probably the best.
We were
content
on
of
the
this whole
same.
episode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We were on the same page. I'm just curious. Like, how many bosses are we going to meet?
Let's wrap this up before we zap this up.
Let's wrap it up before we zap it up, guys. Where can people follow you on the internet, Christina Vanderslice? You go first before Justin right now.
I'm on the internet at K Vanderslice on Instagram, and I'm trying to work on that Twitter presence. So
I saw her on there.
Look at me, liking
Tweet
things,
me at it, girl.
retweeting things. I haven't tweeted
Tweet at
Dylan.
me, girl. Tweet at me, girl.
And you can find me on Twitter at K_Vanderslice.
You're not
to boost
that
my
active on
presence.
Instagram these
Gotta
days.
get that clout.
Oh, I'm not active on Instagram at all. You know what? I honestly just have. Me and social media are just not. We're just not. We don't jive. But I'm trying to get better at Twitter because I feel like this could be a good resource for my professional
I
life.
agree.
So
I'll
trying
be
to get out there. I have 2 retweets here. I have some people sent me some tweets and I responded and I've been hearting things.
Wow.
So follow me.
Russ on the chat said Christina Vanderslice followed me on Twitter today, so now I feel like I need to make some great tweets.
Make
See?
some great tweets.
I don't
Make
think
some
you
great
realize how
tweets.
much the fans tune in just for
I
you,
love you,
Christina.
Tina.
Like you are appreciated. You are
That's very
appreciated.
nice. I think the fans. Oh gosh, really bad song reference. I think the
Great
fans,
song, just a bad reference.
Yeah, bad. That's what I said. Bad song reference. I think the fans want to see how long I can hold out before I tweet Dylan. If you think I can hold out for the entire rewatch,
She's gone over a year. We've been doing this podcast for over a year. You guys realize that, right?
I think I could make it the entire rewatch. I think the culmination of this entire event will be me finally tweeting Dylan.
Guys, we've gotten together every week and talked about 24 for over a year.
And I actually don't know anything that's going on in your personal lives.
Well, we never know what's going on with Christina. Even when we worked with her every day, we didn't know what was going on, except for what was going on with her roommate. And if anybody was
That's
like
true.
on the couch, laying on the
Oh
couch.
gosh,
Every
I
day.
am.
Hey, I'm on
I'm
the
an
internet
onion.
too, Dylan.
Oh,
Can you
yes.
ask me where I'm on the internet?
Where are you on the now? I'll ask you.
Oh, thanks,
Where are you on the
Tina.
internet?
I'm on the internet under @JustinBieberRano on Twitter and Instagram.
You can follow me at Shuckster. That's SCHUCKSTER. Go to the Watch and Talk. Check out my movie review podcast. We just did Mother, the new Darren Aronofsky film, and next week we'll be doing.
I saw it.
Next, you've already seen it.
No, like I saw it like when this podcast comes out.
Oh, and then next week we'll be doing Kingsman 2. I also just last week, any sports fans out there, I just did an NBA previewing the NBA season on the Watch and Talk. You can just go check that out, thewatchandtalk.com, if you're a sports fan. I'm experimenting with discussing sports on a podcast. So, not that I'll ever do a sports podcast, because I just don't think I'd be able to do that. But we project how we think the season's going to go, what the standings are going to be, who's going to be all-stars, and what the season rewards are going to be before the season even starts. That's insane, guys. That's insane.
Bold choices.
So I'm actually, it'll already be available by the time you guys are listening to this, but I'm actually recording it right after I get off with these guys.
Horn here.
We're starting in about 2 minutes, so I timed this out perfectly. So anyway, that's it for the show. You can follow us at Legacy24. You go to our website at legacy24.com. Email us legacy24@gmail.com, and go to our Facebook at facebook.com/thewatchandtalk. And that's it. I'm Dylan Chuck.
I'm Christina Vanderslice.
I'm Justin Moreno.
And we'll see you next week.
That's how you say your name, Justin.
Is it?
Justin Moreno.
Yeah, I'm seeing Mother on Thursday, Dylan.
Oh, are you?
Oh, is that why we can't do the thing? Yeah, Thursday's going to be rough for me, folks.
Thursday's going to be rough for me, too.
Well,
it really is.
We're making it happen.
I'm leaving to Portland.
On Thursday?
No, not on Thursday, but it's just like because of that, it's all rough. I got a free ticket to a conference. That's like a big deal.
Well, either
it
way,
was like last minute.
6:15 on Thursday, and then you guys.
I can't do 6:15. Can we do 6:30? I can't make it. Can we do 6:30?
No, because I have trivia. I have to be out of my house at 7:30. We're not. It's gonna be long. It's with the whole everything. You can't start at 6:15. What do you mean?
Oh, I need to stop by Balboa Park to
you guys figure this
location because I guess we can start at 16. But I'm just by Justin. I just have a lot going on this week, and so double time this week I thought was going to be doable, but then I had plans change, and so now I'm like, oh, this is going to be tough. I'll make it work. All right. I won't fail you.
Even if you have to do it from your car for a little bit or whatever, it will.
Okay, I just need to like scope something out at Balboa Park, but maybe I can try and figure out another way to make this happen. Okay, bye.
All right, dog.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of your night. See ya.
All right, and anybody in the chat, stick around. We're immediately going to be switching over to my